Hey, Iceland, when's
We
Iceland?
good, yeah.
Iceland's in May. Yeah, can't wait, 10 days.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Landmarks Commission, April 24th at 7 PM. Roll call, please.
David Craycraft,
Here.
Roger White here, Dr. Scott Kelly.
Here.
Whitmore Dell,
Here.
Linda Boving.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion that we excuse from tonight's meeting Pete Lynch and Rich Dobda.
I'll second.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whitmore Dell.
Yes.
Linda Boving.
Yes.
Could we get a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, March 27th, 2023.
I'll second.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Linda Boving.
Yes.
Whitmore Dell.
Yes.
First application on tonight's agenda is CA 23-012. The address subject property is 44 Clinton Street. The applicant is requesting approval for a new deck and fence on the subject parcel. This new residential home just completed construction in 2023. It received approval in July of 2022 from the Landmarks Commission for the new single-story, single-family home with attached garage. Up on the screen is a photograph of the newly constructed home. This home is one of three in the area, the first of three on tonight's applications for discussion. The applicant is seeking approval to construct a new 12-foot by 16-foot deck off of the rear of the home. This is the approximate location of the deck shown on the screen, basically the area that is stoned underneath. Looking at the plot plan provided by the applicant, the deck will be in line with the side of the home extending out 12 feet. The deck itself will have steps that will lead down to grade. You can also see in this slide as well the fence that will fence in the rear of the yard. The fence is shown to be 6 foot tall on the side facing the front of the home, 6 foot tall on the north and south sides, and then the rear of the fence, which is along the property line in the wooded area, is shown to be 4 foot tall. The applicant has provided information for the deck construction. They are looking to use a TimberTech concealed fastener deck in the color espresso. The composite rails and balusters will match the same color. Looking at the height of the deck above grade, the applicant has provided a detail for the skirting here in the lower left, and then the lower right corner showing the corner decking details, so that way there are no exposed cut edges of the product, and how the boards are going to change direction here as you get to the edge of the construction. For the fence, the applicant is proposing a horizontal rail fence at 6 foot tall for the north and south property lines and along the eastern property line there facing the front of the house. There is a gate shown. The gate detail switches from a horizontal to vertical construction. And then the rear property line, again, is a 4 foot tall fence. Also going to be this horizontal construction as shown here. Staff had asked the applicant kind of the plans, if they're going to have each of the homes that they want a fence, that they're all going to be the same style initially. Given that this fence design faces beauty side out, so the framing would be visible on somebody's side, the applicant indicated that they could trim out both sides of the fence, so that way it's the same on both sides in that instance. Again, just for some clarity's sake, circled in green are the two gates that are shown. The red sections of fencing are what's 6 foot tall along with the gate, and then the blue section in the back is proposed to be a 4 foot tall. Any questions from the commission?
Andrew, the rendering we have here shows the post sticking up higher than the fence. Is that the way it's going to be with this new construction?
The applicant would be able to clarify that for you guys. I'm not sure if that's what their intention is or not.
No. Oh.
Jason Heitmeyer Building and Design. To answer your question, no. We grabbed that photograph just as a replication to understand how the fencing finish was going to look like, but the posts would not be sticking above there. They would be cut flush, similar to the gate detail.
I don't think we've ever had a horizontal fence come before this board. You know, this would be the first one, and it is different. I don't know if that's a trend, the newest trend in fencing.
Actually, yeah, it's kind of what they call a living wall. You know, the idea is that if you could, things could easily grow, you know, in a more natural setting.
How far apart are the posts? Are those 4x4s?
Yeah, they're 4x4s, yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're close enough where those are probably, what, 1x4s, 1x6s?
Mhm.
The board, the
Yes.
horizontal boards?
Yes, yeah, so.
I mean, I just don't want to see a bunch of,
Yeah, doing a lot of waviness now. You know, typically, you're probably gonna be in that 4 foot, probably a 4 foot span, just to keep that from waving. And since we're gonna sandwich it on both sides, what we'll end up doing is we'll have something in between too to help create that, so it's kind of interlocked in the center.
And the gap in between the boards, is it going to be, as in the photo there, there's going to be that almost looks like a 1-inch gap between the boards?
Yes, yeah,
you said it'll be 1 inch?
approximately. I mean, it might be 3/4, we just take a 3/4 board as a spacer, yeah. Nominal 1-inch, realistic 3/4.
So it'll be cedar and just left natural?
We'd
from weather?
put a clear coat to
Okay.
keep it that natural look.
Okay. I mean, is there a reason why the gates and the fence facing the alley are vertical and then you changed it to horizontal?
No. Just,
I mean, just
yeah,
something.
just from a standpoint of construction, that was the example we had, so.
I would think that structurally it might be stronger with the vertical rather than the horizontal.
I would tend to agree with that, yeah.
Oh, you mean for a gate?
For a gate,
For a
correct,
gate, yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the horizontal.
No, and this, like I say, this is the first one that's come before us, that's been, and it does look different, but it does look nice.
And the back of the property, that's not a floodplain or anything like that, right?
Correct, it is not.
Okay. Now, from what I understand, Andrew, when you said that all of the fences, if they decide to fence the other 2 lots, it'll be the same style? Cedar, same height?
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
the other 2 homes?
Yeah, there was no intention or plan at this point to do fencing on those 2, but I'll make sure it's known to the prospective buyers that if they do decide that they do want to put a fence, that they would, besides coming back here to get approval ultimately, but it would be required to match what we've already started on that particular one.
Okay.
Of course, if we approve those other 2, you've got an approval for 1 year.
Oh, okay, well then we might as well just say that now.
Yeah.
That way, if I want to do it, I can just do it, huh?
How do you feel
Okay,
about that?
that's
Andrew?
kind of a smart idea.
Yeah, I would just make sure at the next 2 following applications, if you guys want to approve the fencing with it, just discuss it during the next subsequent application, so it's in the correct spot in the minutes and all that kind of information.
You mean still submit an application when they do it?
No, so the next application's for this lot.
next one.
The next lot.
Okay.
So just during that application, if you want to talk
Okay.
about the fencing, you know,
But
see if it's still appropriate.
The new property owner could come in with a new proposal as opposed to these horizontal. They could come in with something different unless Jason pushes them to the horizontal direction.
Yeah, I would say we just go ahead and tell them, tell them that if you want a fence, it is gonna be a horizontal to match what we've started, and not give them another option. Doesn't mean that they can't come, you know, on their own fruition, of course, but at least we've set a precedent to start.
Well, the other two lots to the south, though, I mean, they could do anything they wanted as long as it would, if it was in our guidelines. They wouldn't have to follow these.
Correct, yeah, because I don't control those,
Right,
yeah.
okay. The post, I know you'll cut them off, but there's no intention of putting a cap or anything like that?
No, I think it would just be, just kind of flush, so
Okay.
everything's just kind of clean line at the top.
Okay. You guys have any further questions, comments?
Is there anything on the deck before we,
What's that?
anything on the deck before we move on?
All the materials in the deck, everything's composite,
Yes.
right? The pickets, okay, and the pickets are what size?
They're nominally, you know, inch by inch,
Okay,
yeah, inch and a half.
okay. No, I don't have anything. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve this?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve CA 23012 as presented.
I'll second.
Roll call. Scott, Dr.
Yes.
Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Linda Bovee.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
Okay.
Thank
The
you,
next
thank you.
application is for 40 Clinton Street, the next lot in the series was CA 23-013. The applicant this evening is requesting for a deck to be constructed off the rear of this home. Here is a current progress shot of that home's construction for the commission. This is the kind of northeast corner of the home here, showing the previous application there, that home to the left. When looking at the rear of this home, the area between the garage and the set of two windows here is the proposed location for the deck on this property. The applicant is requesting approval for a 10-foot by 17-foot deck off the rear of the home. This deck is proposed to be the same espresso color as the prior application. The applicant has provided matching photographs for the skirting and then the trim around the edge as before. There's just this other photograph here showing kind of what that espresso color looks like installed. Any questions from the commission?
Do we have to make any adjustment to this if we are going to include the fence?
Yeah, if you would like to allow the property owner to have the same fence style as the last application, then you can just.
Because it's not in the application.
Correct, yeah, they didn't submit for it at this time.
Yes, so I would respectfully ask that we could include the ability to install a fence of same design, proportions, et cetera, as Lot 50, and as well as the same concept of coming off each corner, straight to the back, 6 feet, drop down to the 4 feet across the wooded line. Should the upcoming homeowner decide that they want a fence in in their yard, they would, and then I guess they would have a year, or I would have a year to start
And both
that.
sides would be finished.
And both sides would be finished, so that way the inside and the outside would, it'd be a sandwich effect, just like Lot 50.
You said this is a screen porch.
Yes,
Is the, I mean, the screen will be what color? Fiberglass, black, aluminum?
aluminum, yeah, like the black mesh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, and the screens are only from the top part of that. Yeah, what you see below that horizontal bar there, that will be filled in with the siding material.
Okay, go over that again, the horizontal panel. on the bottom part will be,
That one right there, that's part of the screened-in porch, that'll be solid.
Right.
Yeah.
you guys have any more questions, comments?
Andrew, could you flip back one picture? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I built it right. All right.
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-23-012 as stated.
1-3.
1-3.
013? See, that's what it says.
No, you got.
You got the old, you got
got the other one.
Gotta go to the next,
40 plan.
Go to the other one you have
the
in your
next
file.
plan.
Yeah,
This one. 014?
3.
That's the one after this one.
I know, this is the one I have.
Well, there's a.
Anyway, I want to make a motion to approve this with the addendum that this fence, if the owner decides to erect one, it will be similar in detail to the previous house.
Yes.
I'll second.
Roll call. Roger White, yes. Linda Boving.
Yes,
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Who seconded that,
I did.
Roger?
I did.
You did.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 23-014. Location is 36 Clinton Street. The request for this application is a deck off of the rear of the home. Here on the screen is a progress shot of this home's construction. This is the front entry, front facade that you can see from Clinton. Kind of a side shot here of what it looks like from Clinton to Groveport Road. The applicant is seeking approval to construct an 8x6 deck off the rear of the home. The deck in this location would be kind of this gap filler here between this plane in the elevation and this plane in the elevation here off of the screened-in porch. Up on the screen is the plan that shows the deck's location. The applicant is requesting to construct this out of a rustic elm-colored TimberTech, a slightly different color than the last two applications. However, the details for the skirting and the edging are the same as before. The balusters are the same as the last few applications in a TimberTech color, and I believe this photograph here shows the rustic elm decking with a espresso railing to show that color contrast. If there's any questions from the commission, I'd be glad to help answer.
Any comments?
I will share that I did change up the color of that decking material to that rustic elm. And the reason being behind that is the material that we used on the house, or will be using on the house as far as the water table line, where the previous two houses were stone, or the cultured stone material, kind of that buffy color. The color of it's actually the brick, the thin brick, that is applied to the foundation on this particular home, and it's more the red color, and so that I thought that would be a better combination to tie that back together, and that way all three of them weren't the same either. Granted, it's a little smaller little deck area, and the main purpose there, they could put a grill out there, and then they could easily step down to the grade.
I'd like to make a motion to approve application CA 23-014 as presented.
Oh, should we talk about the fence on that one too?
Yes, with the addition of the approval of the fence per the application CA 23-012.
I'll second.
Roll call. Linda Boving.
yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 23-015. Address of the subject property is 59 North Trine Street. Several requests in tonight's application. The first is to remove and replace the stone retaining wall at the front of the home. Next would be to replace 2 sets of windows on the home, and then finally to replace a sliding door off the rear of the home. Here's a photograph of the subject property. This house sits elevated off of Trine Street, has a big grade change with steps leading from the road up to the sidewalk, and then again up from the sidewalk to the front door of the home. When looking at the application here, again, the applicant has several items in their request. One's to redo the retaining wall. The retaining wall, they're requesting to redo it in a Versalock block. They will install a geogrid at 2 different levels of the wall to help have the wall be more stable than the one that was there. And then looking at the steps itself, they're going to replace those with new concrete. And looking at the windows on the home, we'll see in a couple different slides what those windows look like, but there are 2 sets of 4-paneled windows that are going to a set of 3 casement windows. And then for the back sliding glass door, this one is more of a like-for-like change, as the door that's there now looks almost exactly like the door it's being replaced with. When looking at the retaining wall at the front of the home, went out and showed some photographs for you guys. You can see here the separation here of the wall from the poured concrete. It's starting to pull away and lean towards the sidewalk. Kind of looking at it from the front, you can see some of that separation has caused some stair steps in the block. And then just looking at it from the other way here, real close, you can see kind of this angled section, which pretty much looks to be where it started, while the rest of the block with the shifting of the dirt behind it has started to pull away towards the sidewalk. The applicant has provided basically the same photos, just with captions for you guys to kind of take a look at in your packet. Also noting some of the degradation in the concrete on the sidewalks, and then just kind of highlighting some of the prior repair for the retaining wall that is being proposed to be replaced. The detail for the new wall shows some drain piping, utilizing the existing footer, and then again looking at doing some of those geogrids to help with the lateral movements of the earth, as well as some gravel backfill to help with drainage. Kind of an aerial photograph here, kind of highlighting the area that is to be replaced. Again, this concrete section here, which hasn't moved, they're showing to retain. And then just some photographs shown of what that material looks like. There was a similar project basically right down the street I remember doing a couple years ago, so I went and snapped a photo of that. The scale of this wall is totally different. Some of the material is a little different here, but just kind of give you an idea of what that exposed rough cut block looks like in person. I believe this is the cider blend that's being requested here. That was circled on one of the sheets, and then some of the other different colors here for the Versalock block type, and a couple different colors that were circled as well. For the windows, this is the south-facing window. This is a set of 4 windows here. The applicant's looking to replace with a set of 3. My discussion with the applicant was by reducing the number of windows from 4 to 3, the structural integrity of the framing around it became more robust, and it became a much nicer window system. So that's why they're looking to pare this one down from 4 to 3. Details for those windows have been provided. And then the other set of 4 windows, this one is, I guess, like a bow system to it. It's not really a traditional kind of casement set, but they're looking to have it match the other set where it's flush against the wall, so that way they match on both ends. Again, it would be going from 4 sets to 3. And then the sliding glass door off the rear of the home, again, this one seems to be basically a like-for-like change. as the opening's already there, and they're just putting a new one in with the rest of the system. If there's any questions for me, I've got an answer. Applicant's here to answer any questions you have.
What's your current wall height? Is it going to be
That's a good
change any height?
My name's Pat Lynch. I'm a contractor for the Amoses. Live at 27 East Columbus Street. So, what's your question?
Is the retaining wall going to change in height?
No, it'll be the exact same, within a couple inches, plus or minus, of what's there right now. Actually, it'll finish slightly above grade, so the water doesn't wash over top of the wall, as it shows in the drawing up there.
So Pat, the existing concrete steps will stay there, right? You're just gonna lay over them?
Actually, we decided not to do the bullnose that you saw on the drawing, so you can kind of sketch
Okay.
that out. The bottom step is going to come out, that it's almost like a landing. We're taking that out because that's pushed forward onto the over top of the sidewalk. So we're keeping that. The next run of 10 stairs to go all the way up to about where the top of the handrail is, that comes up to a landing, and then there's 3 treads to go into the house. We're taking the landing and those 3 treads out because they're all kind of cattywampus right now, and the rises are just all odd. So we're going to, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 risers, we'll do 6 risers, and we'll even those all up, so it's a easier approach into the house, safer approach.
There will be no change in the handrail?
Handrail is really not part of the project, but we're planning on retaining it. Yeah.
You're going to retain that, you're not going to extend it down any further towards the sidewalk?
No, the handrail length will not change. We do plan to add, well, there used to be an existing handrail at the top, right where you're circling. I plan to put that back in.
Okay. I just was wondering if, you know, when you're doing these stairs, whether with the excavation and whatever, that you're going to affect the posts that are there, whether they might be, it's wooden. There could be rot down there which might precipitate replacing the handrail.
And that may come to fruition, but if in fact we do, it's going to be exactly like for like. There would be no change in that whatsoever.
Okay.
And then the sidewall on this picture that's shown right now, the sidewall will be replaced with the rest of that type of.
Correct, there'll be a return on the Versalock block into that poured concrete wall, because you got a split-face concrete mortar block wall now that ties into a poured concrete wall. So concrete wall will stay. I don't know if I can get a decent notch into it to where I can kind of overlay some of the Versalock into it to just kind of dress that transition up so it's not so stark and gnarly like it is now. We'll try to dress that up.
Okay.
Yeah, but there will be a return to the new retaining wall at that corner.
Okay.
And the return of the wall where it hits the steps will more than likely continue further up
Further up
the
the
steps
hill.
and into the hillside,
Yeah.
yeah, because right now it's probably only 3 feet, which is kind of cut short. It needs to go probably another 3 to 4 more feet back into the hill to make it look right.
And then when you put the pavers on top of the steps, I mean, you'll just,
We're not doing those.
okay.
Yeah,
we're not doing
yeah,
those.
yeah.
Okay,
They declined on that.
okay. Sorry, I missed that. When you, and this is just for my own,
Yes,
the drain pipe, perforated drain pipe.
yes.
Does it go anywhere at each end?
It'll daylight through the wall at one end or the other. Well, no, actually, I take that back. In this particular case, there's a downspout that comes out to the curb at some point. So and there's a downspout that comes down the corner of the garage that drains onto the sidewalk. not a good application. So what we plan on doing is finding that pipe that goes underneath the sidewalk down to the curb, because there's already a hole in the curb, and tie the drain behind the wall into it and a downspout into that.
Okay.
So all water coming down that hill, coming down the downspout from the roof will go out to the curb and not over top of the sidewalk, which is the most, obviously, ideal way to do it.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely dangerous in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here to tell you.
Yeah. So we're trying to solve a lot of problems all at one time.
Have you thought about the top load Versalock versus just their straight that looks a little bit more weathered?
Yes. We were doing the non-weathered, which they show in the picture here. It's quite a bit less expensive. It does the exact same thing.
No, I know,
It's just,
I mean,
they
it is the
beat
same
them up and
product.
charge more for them. It's an interesting concept.
Who makes
Yeah.
those now? Does
Pardon?
Does Oberfield still make those?
Yeah, this is an Oberfields. Versalock is made by Oberfields over in Obetz. Actually, it's sold in Obetz. It's produced up in Sunbury. It's a good product. It's used a lot. These wall systems, you can go 20, 30, 40-foot high
Oh, yeah, yeah.
if you engineer them properly.
it's a
So
good
it's a
product.
very structurally sound wall.
What was the color you were
I
looking
was
to
just
do?
ready to say, there was,
Storm, the one that's marked in the
This
drawing
one?
there, second. They originally wanted to go with the charcoal. Charcoal has been discontinued, so the Storm is what we'll be using.
Is Storm similar to this example on Trine? It looks like there's some red
No.
blacks in it.
I have a picture here. The Storm is more of a dark gray, light grays, a little bit of buff mixed into it, if that makes any sense. Closest I could get is this picture right here.
Dave, you want to just share it with these guys?
I just printed that out. I couldn't find any larger color. Do you have the catalog?
I do,
Yeah.
let me pull this.
And then there's a color sample, just so that, there's a color sample in here. But it only shows one block and do keep in mind this is a blend, so there's a lot of different colors. You can keep that.
Okay. Andrew, let me. Oh, okay, this is, okay.
Yeah, the picture, the printed picture and what's in the catalog, it's the same color. It's just obviously, you can get colors in a magazine, they tend to skew a little bit from reality.
They dress it up for the magazine.
They dress it, yeah, they gloss it up a lot for the magazine, yes. Yeah. We were looking for a color that would go with the house. There are grays on the house. We didn't want anything real red because there's no red on it. There's really not a lot of buff on the house, so that's why we thought the gray blend would be the most appropriate color for this application. And actually, a split-face block is not much different than the split-face block that's there right now. That wall is a split-face block wall. Difference is that's masonry. What we're doing is more of a dry laid application, which I think would be, in the long run, stronger, way stronger and more durable than what you're seeing right there in the picture.
Any more comments about the landscaping or the retaining wall? Let's move to the windows.
I'll sit down.
And you know what, I don't have any, I mean, I'm fine with the windows, you know, the, going from 4 to 3, so I'm okay with that. Taking the bow out, replacing it with a flat style window.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve CA 23015 as presented.
I'll second.
Wait, should we make a comment that the cap on this concrete stairs like that's shown in this sketch is not going to happen?
Yes.
Correct, that's not.
Yes, where it says existing concrete steps capped with bullnose paver, yes, that can be Xed out, please.
So we will, I'll modify that I approve it with the fact that the cap will be, what was it? Omitted.
I'll second.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Linda Bovee.
Yes.
I think it's going to work real nice.
Will look nice.
I got faith in him. Thank you, guys, thank
We
you.
know where you live.
And by the way, you all doing a great job out there. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
The last application on tonight's agenda is CA 23-016. Address subject property is 44 West Mound Street. The request this evening is for a new 1,050 square foot addition off to the east of the home. The subject property was constructed approximately in 1873. This home has been on the National Register since 1988. There was a rear porch that was enclosed on this home to make a kitchen, and the previous property owner, which this is probably 2 or 3 down now, added an additional 6 foot to the rear of the home in the 1980s. The only other application I could find on this subject property is in 2016. The Landmarks Commission approved 8 new windows on the home. The windows I thought was unique just to note in this application. They were a 1/1 with an internal wood grid for the grid patterns. So when you guys are typically looking at the windows and people want to do the mullions or in between the panes of glass, before that was even a thought, they were kind of snapping grids on the inside of the home. So the applicant had some of those at the time on the property, and they requested for their new windows to match. So just something unique in that these windows in the front porch don't have the simulated divided light component like you guys typically look at it. This is a photograph of the front of the home here. Kind of looking at the eastern side. This is the primary side where the addition is going to be constructed. In between, basically, this person's side yard extends almost all the way to the neighboring property here to the east. Just kind of a closer look here of the details in the home. Storm windows looks like exist right here. These are the windows that were replaced previously in the upper floor. And I think 2 on the other side and maybe 1 or 2 down here in the first level. Another photograph supplied by the applicant, kind of working your way towards the backyard, just showing a different perspective of that same eastern elevation that's being changed. The applicant is proposing a new 1,050 square foot addition off to the east of the home. The addition is this kind of bold line type shown on the plot plan here. The addition itself relocates the front entry from the center of the home to the center really of the entire building with the addition. They're showing to construct a connector piece onto the porch that leads over to the front door to the existing porch system. The whole house, including the addition, is proposed to be sided in a composite lap siding with composite trim and corner boards. The applicant is showing a standing seam metal roof across the whole home. They are showing to do, it's not clear if they're showing a new standing seam metal on the existing home or not based off this slide, but they are showing to take the center gable end of the front elevation, which is currently horizontal vinyl siding, and doing it with a composite shake siding. When looking at the east elevation of the home here, they are showing a new standing seam metal roof for the existing structure. Again, same materials for the siding, but you can see the new windows that are being proposed One of the windows here is being proposed to be removed as it's in conflict with the addition on the second floor. And then moving on to the rear of the home, some of the details with the new windows, new man door, and again, taking the gable end of the existing structure and making that a composite shake siding. If there's any questions from the commission that we've got to help answer, applicants here this evening to talk about the project. I believe they have information for you guys as well on siding colors, trim color, and roofing color.
Oh, no, wait, just a second. And I'll tell you.
Andrew, you didn't have any historical pictures of the home before?
No, I don't really have much of anything for homes on West Mount Street. Typically, the historical homes I kind of have the photos of are grabbed in the backgrounds of commercial buildings. People really didn't have the money to get a photograph of their home back in the late 1800s. So those are really hit or miss. And no, I don't have anything for this home. Just based off of the kind of look at the front of it though, I think it's safe to say that this was an addition on the second story at some point in time. That wasn't noted in the register because they discuss kind of clearly that this section, I believe, was the screen porch that is probably now the kitchen that was on the home. And then you can see the kitchen is moving again into the new addition, the larger, probably more modern scale and size.
I noticed in the drawings that you have that the chimney is no longer there.
It's so funny that you can't see it. There's one more, not that side, it's the other side, but.
It's on the west side.
I don't know why you can't see it. When you stand
No, I
on the
did not
street-
show a chimney.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's going to be retained.
I tried to snap my own photos, but with the great, like, it's worthless. You can't see anything from the street.
Here's the chimney is.
Thank you.
But in the drawings, it doesn't show that chimney
Right.
in the drawing.
I've left next to Linda the Hardy sample, yeah, and that's Arctic white. That's the color of the house.
Very nice.
The siding, or the lap siding and the shakes. And the trim,
And it's going to be wood grain.
pardon.
It's going to be the wood grain instead of smooth.
The other thing I left with you, Linda, is,
The book.
that's the, yeah, there's the Hardy book. This is the standing seam metal roof. That will go over the entire house. And the color is that slate color that he circled.
I tried to get my roofing supplier to get me a chip, and he acted like it came from Chattanooga, so I can provide that later, but I couldn't get all the sample boards he kept giving me were like, Oxford green, and like one was like, I don't know, like seafoam green. I'm like, who makes sample boards in seafoam green? Like, nobody wants that.
Will the standing seam be similar to what's here, though? I mean, that same type of pattern?
Yeah, it's the.
It's already on there?
Oh, yeah, there's a rib profile. Let's see, there's a detail.
It'll be a smooth panel between the ribs.
This one shows corrugated, but in that SL 150 product, you can get
Okay,
a smooth
okay,
profile
gotcha, okay.
option.
Yeah.
And then I think the rib is 1.5 inches. They have another series that's maybe 1 3/4 inches, but
Yeah.
The one thing we are going to do to the existing porch, and the new porch will match it also, is Right now, we show a wall with horizontal siding on it. That wall will come down and it'll be a rail, top rail and picket system, just to open up the porch.
Gutters, just doing conventional gutters or round gutter?
Just continuous, some of the steep,
I mean, the OG
yeah, just,
versus the round.
right, just,
We're going to match what's there.
yeah. I think it's 5-inch, but on that other side where the roof is so steep, I don't know what you guys call for, but typically when it's that steep, sometimes I put up 6-inch. It would be the white.
I want to bring something to your attention also. Jared colored in, he would like to take all the posts on the front elevation and that fascia board above it and paint it like a,
Just a natural, right now our front door is stained. I believe it's original to the house because it has a lot of cool little fixtures on it. But just a natural look. That building across from local cantina, it's pretty much like, close to that color scheme, but the wood, just a natural, I don't know.
it's just going to stand out. It's going to be different than the house. It'll just add a little bit of color to the front of it.
Can you pass around that drawing, Dave, for them to see the areas you're talking about?
Thank you. Dave, did you want this passed also?
No, I think,
I think we're okay.
no, that's,
I'll just,
as long as everybody saw the sample, that's fine. Hey, Andrew, this is a last-minute ad. Eventually, this project will have a garage, 30 by 24, 720 square feet, on the back of the lot. And I've got a drawing saying where that's going to be located along with the walk. That will that will attach it to the house. Should I present that now, or is that something?
I would make that a different application since there's no details for it
Okay.
for review.
Okay.
And it's not going to be built at the same time anyway, so.
No, it'll be the last part.
Dave, with the new addition, is the electric meter, is that going to be moved to be on the east side of the new addition? Or do you intend on that being on the back of the new addition? They're kind of right in the way right now.
Right. I'm going to say, I mean, I haven't given much thought about it,
I
but,
would try to probably put it in between us and Jerry and Erica if possible.
Okay.
It's like-
Right back like in here?
Yeah, if
Mhm.
possible, yeah.
And then do you have, like, is there going to be a new condensing unit that will be on this elevation as well? I don't know where the AC unit is on, or where the gas
the
meter is
AC is
at.
now at the back of the house. The furnace is kind of centrally located, but it's more towards the west side of the basement. I'm going to say right now it'll be towards the back of the house, or on the back of the house.
Probably, yeah. It's under that where it says, existing window, the far right one. Yeah, it's right under that far right
Mhm.
window on the back, and I would imagine probably keep it there, in the unit, if possible.
Yeah.
Is this going to be basement or like the
Basement.
house next door?
Basement.
Basement? Okay.
It'll be pretty much constructed like I did my addition, where, and he currently has a basement under this house, but we're gonna be going below the existing footer. So what I did is build a shelf, came out 4 foot, didn't disturb the soil at all, and made like a 4 foot wide shelf. And then the basement will take its 8'9" height from that. But it will have a basement.
And will this be poured wall or block exposed at the bottom?
Poured,
Right now, there's maybe like 2 courses of like a split face.
it's like, I think it's called a decorative block.
Yeah.
Decorative block.
Yeah.
And then underneath it is a few rows of brick.
Right,
You can barely see them, I love it, but you can
Right here.
just peek right there.
yeah.
Depending on how great it is, I found like a veneer supplier that has a thin version of that would match that, but I don't, wherever grade is, I don't really know how it'll line up. But I'm trying to make it look like as you're staring at it there, the same.
You might see some of it going north on the east side,
Yeah.
but then it would just disappear with grade.
Did the thin brick get applied to the house next door along that foundation?
I don't know.
I know when the house was painted, it hadn't been yet. I didn't know if that got completed or not. Or if they had a similar issue with trying to get like a full course on with how much was exposed.
So you're gonna go with railing instead of that solid, switch back there, Andrew, where you were. Yeah, instead of the solid, yeah.
Yeah, when we sit on the porch, sometimes our neighbor creeps up on us and startles us. But just, I don't know, just an overall transparency and being able to see the front elevation of the house. It just seems less obtrusive and kind of a better porch sitting experience when you can see through, because it's on a hill. So you're looking down at the street and the sidewalk, and now from a seated position, when people walk on the sidewalk, you're kind of like, hey neighbor, you know, it's kind of annoying.
I mean, unfortunately, the way that the rendering came out, it almost is a whole different element, but it'll be blended in with,
Yeah, the way
The rest of the
PDF
house.
compressed, it's like, looks crazy, but
How tall will it be?
whatever code will say. I know if the porch is enough above the grade where it'll have to be a specific height. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's 36.
You could probably get away with the railing is the same height as what's there now, just because it exists now.
Okay. Even though we're changing it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
That looks like that comes right below the window. it looks
that's
like.
what it looks like right there, yeah.
And those exposures on the siding is 5-inch.
About 25 inches.
What is it, 25, 30 inches?
Yeah.
Something like that? Okay. I'll make a note of that.
Just for the commission to note as well, the door that was right here is being infilled with the window that they're relocating from the side that's being demoed, so that way the window will match. I just want to make sure that was known that this was going to be a window where the old door location used to be.
And the other thing is on that drawing that I passed out, I think, Jared, you want to put a brick veneer on the steps.
yeah, and depending on how they like the little approach,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way down to the existing sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the current door is glass. So you're gonna do a solid, can't match something similar to that?
Well, it's
No.
a white storm door.
Oh, that is?
Yeah,
Oh,
No, the new entry door will have glass in it.
okay,
yeah. It's a really
Okay.
beautiful door
Okay.
behind that.
okay.
Actually, Dave, this answers my question right here. The brick veneer on this home is missing, if you want to
Okay.
remind your old clients of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Jared, you said that the steps, not here, but moved over all the way to the sidewalk will be capped in brick?
Yeah.
Any other questions from the commission?
Good.
I'd like to make a motion to approve application CA 23-016 as presented.
I'd like to second that motion.
Roll call, Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Linda Boving.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
Can I get one for David?
David Craycraft.
Abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In terms of old and new business, the home at 109 Park Street.
Could, would this be appropriate time to ask a question on my previous,
Oh, that'd be-
You could ask a question, but they can't open up a application this evening.
well, okay, but the question is I messed up, on the fence material, I had put on there cedar, and Mike White, my homeowner, is actually desiring, pine. Is that interchangeable?
You mean pressure treated?
Not,
Oh,
just like white pine,
okay.
yeah, instead of cedar. Just wants
I mean, why
pine.
would it be,
It'd still be, the natural color exactly, just like what that photograph shows. It showed, that
No,
photograph
I mean,
actually has
what would be the longevity of
pine.
just pine? I mean, I would think, it's not meant for weather, right? I mean, I would think it would be,
Pressure treated.
okay. If it's pressure treated, that's fine. But I just thought, when you just said pine, I know it's pine, but, it's pressure treated. Okay. So,
Pressure treated.
does that mean the other two homes?
I would get them all the same, yeah, whatever, yeah. I keep it consistent.
Are they going to age the same, the pine as opposed to the cedar? Since they're not going to have a finish on it.
I would still put a clear coat finish on it.
Well, he was gonna put a clear coat on the cedar.
Right,
Whatever, the
and,
cedar.
we'd still put a clear coat on this. It's just the material would be pressure treated instead of cedar.
Well, there'd be less bees born through the pressure treated than cedar.
I
How
don't
do we
have-
handle this?
I don't have a problem with it. I just, a matter of.
We've approved a lot of fences with pressure treated lumber.
Yeah, the dog ear.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem, it's just the mechanics of whether we can do it or not.
You mean the mechanics of what?
The applications.
The
Oh,
application
yeah.
Procedure.
How do
procedure.
we,
You guys are comfortable, are all comfortable with the change, then we can just note it. I would just be concerned if somebody wasn't comfortable, then it goes back to a voting scenario for part of the application, and the application has been totally closed. So if it's a unanimous, discussion amongst the group, then I think it's safe for the applicant and we can move on. But if there was more discussion on it than that, then I would say there needs to be an application next month when the application time comes up for review.
I mean, I don't have a problem
I don't have
going
a
to
problem.
pressure treated. I'm just wondering, let's say one of your clients buys a house and they want cedar versus,
The cedar would be on their property, wouldn't be seen by, because.
oh, I know, but we've just said that all of these homes now will now have, previous it was
Could we
pine
say
or
either
cedar, and now it's
or-
all pressure
we could
treated.
say cedar or pressure treated.
Jason, is this photo pressure treated or cedar?
That is treated, pressure treated.
So I don't know if that helps you guys, but the photo shows a pressure treated material.
I'm okay, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and actually, if a homeowner on one of the other two properties desired cedar as opposed to the pressure treated, they could come in and ask for that.
You know. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with the pressure treated.
Yeah.
Is that?
You guys okay
Yes.
with
Yeah,
pressure
I'm
treated?
okay with it.
Yep.
Okay.
We're all okay with it.
All right, I apologize for, that's my mistake, and
That's-
I'm
that's
sorry.
fine.
Thank you, though.
Thank you.
All right.
In terms of old and new business, the application you guys reviewed last month at 109 Park Street for that home's new siding, windows, gutters, shutters, whatever else that rhymes. That applicant has appealed your denial to the city council. City council set the public hearing for that appeal for next Monday, May 1st at 5:30. If any of you want to attend, feel free, just to kind of sit down on the appeal process. I informed our chairman that he is required to attend that meeting as being the liaison for the Landmarks Commission and City Council. Basically, he will be there to piggyback on my presentation, present your guys' ultimate decision on a unanimous decision to deny that application, and then just kind of discuss with them the nuances on why. Then the applicant has the opportunity to present their case on why it should have been approved as presented to City Council. There hasn't been a landmarks appeal since 2011, 10 or 11, so this will be the first time that any of this council has seen one, so it'll just be a different process for them. And then in terms of other old new business, the community plan team has met last week. They are starting to review a draft of the plan. They started by reviewing drafts of some of the detailed appendices that have all the detailed maps and documents and demographic data. As part of the contract with the consultants, they are limited to 100 pages for the plan itself. And then the appendices can be however many additional pages just as a separate document. So they are still working with staff on the 100-page version to make sure that's nailed down before they share that with the steering committee for their feedback. We're hoping to get that to City Council for adoption in September. Our original kind of timeline for that was in June, but just looking at kind of where we are today and putting in enough buffer room where we're not constantly pushing the schedule back, a couple weeks after a couple weeks. I think September is a safe time frame to get to City Council before election season, where it'll become more political for that getting approved than anything else, which is not something I care to have happen. In terms of other old new business, I already have 3 applications for the May landmarks agenda. So that one is looking to be a busy one. I think just weather's breaking, everybody's trying to find excuses to go outside and do stuff. So I expect the rest of this year to pick up pace from where we have been so far. Don't really have anything else unless you guys do. That's all I have.
Andrew, I got a question. When, on city council on Monday night, right, does our chairman have to go in and reiterate what we discussed?
Yeah, so what will happen is our law director is going to type up a findings of fact, conclusions of law, which is a legal document that represents the discussion you guys had at this meeting. It'll basically be a recap of your decision for that application. Unfortunately, just how fast they scheduled the public hearing, ideally it would be here for you guys to review before tonight and sign it, because you all have to sign off on it. But there will be a draft that will be available for council's review on Monday. They basically go off the meeting recording and then the approved minutes, which you guys just approved this evening for that. And then Pete will be there just to help elaborate on some of the nuances. Like I know I've talked to him already, there was some discussion on how you can have vinyl siding in this instance without having the coil wrapper on the windows, by having like a J channel and how that butts up to the existing trim. I've already talked to him about providing pictorial information of what that means to city council. That way they have something to look at to help guide them on what the hell he's saying. So that should be part of the discussion, but he'll really be there to discuss why Landmarks made the decision they made.
And city council right now doesn't know the discussion that we had.
Not unless.
But they'll be made aware of that Monday.
Yeah, not unless they downloaded and listened to the meeting. The minutes just got approved tonight, so they'll be posted tomorrow. Anything else?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. It's 8:07.
I'll second that. Roll call, David Craycraft,
Yes.
Roger White, yes, Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whitmore Dell.
Yes.
Linda Bowman.
Yes.